Welcome back to Houston Life. April is Limb Loss Awareness Month, and our next guest recently underwent a leg amputation. He is Langham Creek and A&M alum Cam Ayala, who you might know from the Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise. After that amputation less than a year ago, he's continued outpatient rehab with TIRR Memorial Hermann. Cam joins us now along with one of the doctors who's been treating him, Dr. Vinay Vanodia with TIRR Memorial Hermann. Guys, welcome to the show. It's great to meet you both. Doctor, I want to start with you. Let's talk about TIRR Memorial Hermann. We were chatting during commercial break about Catapult, which is an organization that helps folks with amputations. And TIRR, I have heard this time and time again, TIRR is like world class when it comes to treatment.
Yeah, we have a specific limb loss clinic where we only see amputees there. We really start the rehab process before amputation when possible. So we see the patient, give them all of the information they need. We get them set up with support, so peer supports, set them up with other amputees that have gone through the same process so that they're able to get their questions answered and have more of a smooth transition from rehab to going home. We're able to cover a lot of different things because limb loss is not just a physical or functional issue. It is different. The patient has to, learn how to walk to the bathroom again or, go from their bedroom to the kitchen, all that stuff. But also, there's a big psychological component to it as well. And one of the big things that we've seen help with that issue is support groups and then peer visitors as well.
And this is for people who are competitive athletes, for people who, as you mentioned, just want to walk through their neighborhood on the sidewalk, no matter your situation. And I know every amputation situation is totally different. TIRR is ready with specialists.
Definitely, yeah. So not only do we have physicians that are, focused on limb loss, but we have therapists, both physical and occupational therapists that are specialized in limb loss, training people how to walk with prosthetics, and then for upper extremities, how to use those prosthetics in daily life to get back into their, cooking, cleaning, getting back to work, and all different kinds of things like that. Just because the individual may be different externally doesn't mean that they're any less deserving of love, capable of loving, and that they can't do amazing things, which we'll hear from Cam.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that. Okay, Cam, turning to you now. People know you, a lot of our viewers, from, as we mentioned, the Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise. All of that happened before the amputation. And you have something called lymphedema, is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So that's a disease I was born with, but I really started to present with the chronic swelling and pain symptoms at about 11 years old. So I've been managing it for quite a while now.
And managing it, ultimately you were hoping to do a total knee replacement, is that correct?
That is correct.
But that did not go as planned.
No, unfortunately it didn't. So when they completed the total knee replacement, I spent almost a year in physical therapy and rehab, and I wasn't getting any results. And then we found out that the knee replacement was not performed properly. I basically had the option of doing more revisions, which at that point I already had 18 surgeries on this knee, or we could do something a little bit more radical, which was the above knee amputation.
What were you thinking during this entire time? Because having any sort of amputation, I'm sure, is not an easy thing to just process. How did you come to that decision?
Well, a lot of prayer, a lot of time with my family, church community, but then I actually interviewed a lot of different orthopedic doctors and, most importantly, other amputees who had already gone through it. Like Dr. Vanodia was saying, the peer support was really that clarity that I needed, that I was going to move forward with this without having any regrets. Because, it's not like we're a lizard where you chop the tail off and it grows back. This is, once it's gone, it's gone. So I think having that support is what gave me that clarity to move forward with the planned amputation.
Like you mentioned, once it's gone, and you want to be sure that you have a team of people who are flying the plane, who know what they're doing and who are the best in the world. How did you arrive at TIRR Memorial Hermann?
So, I'm a big believer in being your own advocate. We live in a time where we have so much access to information on your smartphones, just word of mouth. And I had done medical device sales, so I was familiar with a lot of the hospital systems here in the greater Houston area. But then I came across a lot of my peers that were already amputees who said TIRR's the place that you need to go, especially for amputee rehab. So that's where I started, and that's where I'm still at today, and I love it.
Well, the prosthetic looks super cool, and people might have a lot of questions about how this works, because day to day, you're wearing a prosthetic essentially every single day.
Correct.
And this is for what, just general mobility?
Yeah, so this is my everyday leg. It has a microprocessor, which fancy word for a computer. So this helps me with my balance, with my gait. And so I get a lot of stares from like little kids at the grocery store, and they're like, "Mom, look at his robot leg." And I use that as an opportunity to educate them.
Yeah.
At first I was, a little bit ashamed of my body and kind of coming to peace in terms with that. But seeing it as an opportunity to educate, and even grown adults, like even on the airplane, that's a great conversation that I have with them, kind of explaining the difference between my everyday leg and then when I want to do athletic activity, they have things like these running blade prosthesis that is more adaptable to that kind of high impact running and sprinting kind of thing.
It looks super cool, and I love that you are using this experience in your life. The shirt you're wearing, disability, is not a bad word because the stigma needs to go away. And I think it's great you're having this conversation with people on the plane and the young people at the grocery store.
Right, yeah. It is such a blessing. And everyone has their own journey, right? It's not like you have the amputation, all of a sudden you're an extrovert and you're ready to share that with other people. So I encourage people to be patient and to seek those support groups, whether it's through social media or through the peer support groups from the hospital and rehab facilities in their communities.
Dr. Vanodia, final thoughts. If anyone out there is in a situation where they're facing an amputation, what would you say to them?
Sure, yeah. Just like Cam mentioned, find a good support group. There are national support groups as well. But I think one of the most important things is finding a team of medical professionals that are specialized in limb loss, that know that, like I had mentioned before, coping with limb loss is such a important and essential part of the rehab process. So it's not just physical therapy and occupational therapy, but we have to cover that as well. So having that whole multidisciplinary team, the surgeon, the rehab physician, the therapists, and then if needed, the behavioral therapists or counselors to help cope through the limb loss, that's really important.
And lastly, because we are out of time, you have something called the Pre-Prosthetic Program, readying these patients for what they're about to experience, and then the Prosthetic Training Program, because patients need to learn how to use these devices.
Right, yeah. Staying in a hospital even for a few days, your body atrophies, the muscles get weak, So it's really important to strengthen the body, get it ready for prosthetic training. The prosthesis is a tool. It's not a replacement of the leg, but individuals are able to use that and get back into life. So we want to make sure that their cores are strong, their legs strong, so that they're able to get back and do really well once they receive their prosthesis.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Dr. Vinay Vanodia, Cam, Ayala, thank you so much for sharing your story. Best of luck to you. And in the meantime, if you would like more information about the program, you can visit memorialhermann.org/TIRR or call 713-222-2273.